Hello everybody and welcome to this amazing game of Dead by Daylight. A while back we were told of the perk add-on Trapper and Hag update, and I've yet to cover the Trapper and Hag part, so let's discuss the impact today. First, to start us off, we know that the Trapper and Hag have needed quite a bit of love, and we'll first cover the changes to the Trapper and understand where this puts us, as the patch is coming up pretty shortly here in July. First, we got a time reduction on the trap setting time down to 2.5 seconds from 5 seconds, which is about half, if not half. It is half. So this is a first good step, as majority of the issue with Trapper was just how long it took him to get set up, and in a game that can end in about 3 minutes, that's pretty massive. They're also looking at setting kind of a standard for all killers as far as how many add-ons they have at what rarities, which means moving forward we can expect 2 ultra rares for every killer with very specific set of very rares, uncommons, and commons. And so with that being said, Trapper is getting some new add-ons and getting some changed add-ons. We know that the Trapper has a bag add-on, but there are only 2, so we'll now get a new Trapper bag, also called the Trapper Sack, that will increase the amount of traps the Trapper can hold by 1, and since there's already a bag that does this, they'll be increasing that bag and the other bag to help balance them out to have 3 different rarities. This means we should have 3 different bags to help increase the amount of traps available for Trapper, and then that means at any game you should be available to apply even a common add-on that gives you the basic necessity of having more traps. We can expect to see new jaw add-ons, such as the padded jaw, which will no longer deal damage to survivors when they're caught in your traps, but instead you'll get blood point bonuses to deviousness, very much like the Hillbilly's speed limiter. This is not a add-on that's designed to cause you to do better, but one that will give you more blood points at a cost of limiting yourself, and that's a fantastic touch on the jaws, as some of them have a unique use such as causing mangled or hemorrhage, but in this case we actually have something that awards the Trapper more blood points at the cost of giving up a bit of his own power. And though he is not a strong killer as is, this is just another good step to give killers more blood points to award them for playing nice. We'll also be seeing changes to Diamond Stone as it turns into Iridescent Stone, and essentially all your Diamond Stones will also be converted to Iridescent Stone. They'll also be completely altering the effect. No longer will Iridescent Stone cause instant downs, but instead will randomly set one of your unset traps every 20 seconds. This is such a powerful add-on, and I love the idea you don't even need to set your own damn traps and they just open up. Oh, it's so fantastic and awesome and wonderful. This is like one real good reason to play Trapper right now and stock up on your Diamond Stones, as they'll become Iridescent Stones, and oh, just mind-blowingly amazing. On top of that, Honing Stones now gain the Iridescent effect, but slightly altered. Instead of being a 50-50 on whether or not somebody goes down, or just a 100% chance that when you release somebody they go down, you get, if they free themselves, they go down, but if a survivor saves them from your trap, they instead just get out. So it's kind of an interesting way to balance it from that ultra rare status down to the very rare, but also not be also reliant on RNG. It's another fantastic play on behavior. Congratulations, guys. It seems like balance is finally on its way. There'll be several other changes to add-ons that currently exist that will alter their values and make them more relevant. The last add-on worth talking about is the Bloody Coil, and this will actually cause survivors who disarm a trap to be injured. And that's just wow. The community's been asking for that kind of add-on or that effect on bear traps forever, and it's fantastic it's being put in. But it's very important to remember that this will not down survivors. It just puts them into injured state if they disarm your trap. So if they're injured and disarm your trap, nothing happens. Still, it's a fantastic, balanced way to kind of incorporate what the community's been asking for. It's really nice to hear that behavior has been listening to all those Reddit posts, all those forum posts, all those videos, all the crying, all the whining. It's coming true. I love it. It's fantastic. It's just, overall, this update, this patch coming out, has just felt so good. There are things we need to talk about later about it all, but it's just good. Good God. So we're going to move on to the Hag now, and they did answer a very important question with the Hag. They will not buff her base movement speed to every other average killer speed because they want to balance her in a way that forces her to use her perks to be viable. And, you know, I usually don't have a problem with this, but the issue is this game is not balanced in a way that, like, powers for a lot of the killers are, like, Well, very much like the nurse, her movement speed is less than that of a survivor, but they balance it with her power being able to cut survivors off, go through corners, and become the most powerful killer in the game. But with Hag, you don't have that, unfortunately. You don't have that ability to, because you have to sit there and spend time working on your powers. Like, your setting time is now going to be 2 seconds because of the update they're adding to her, but that makes a massive problem because even if she does set this all up, she's not going to be as good as the nurse. Her teleportation is limited and she's slower than, let's say, the trapper, but the trapper is not slow. The trapper gets his traps all the same, and his are more lethal. I don't have to trap, you know, and teleport to them. Instead, if somebody jumps into the trap, they're downed or injured or held still. Instead, Hag has to teleport, can't be busy while her traps go off, and that does cause a problem, and hers can be ignored. So I don't think that, you know, her power is properly balanced for them having a 110% movement speed, so 110%. It just, they might need to alter that a little bit. Other updates to the Hag are teleportation distance is increased from 32 to 40 meters, which is fantastic. Allows her to teleport more often to her traps. So she'll also have add-ons that still teleport her to those traps at a even greater distance. These add-ons are all buffed, just very much like the Trapper. But there are massive changes to add-ons we need to focus on. Majority of the time, Hag's add-ons have been bad. Like, Mint Rag was the only good high-level add-on for the Hag, but you had things like the Scarred Hand, and what that would do is cause your traps to no longer be able to be teleported to, but they would allow for physical blocking. So if the trap ever popped up, it physically blocks the survivors. The problem with this is it slowed down the Hag to the point where she is equally as fast as a sprinting survivor, meaning she could really never catch up. And it was not worth having no ability to teleport, and the blocking was kind of moot and not good at all. So it was kind of a joke of an it wasn't an add-on, it was more of a hindrance. But the same thing with Waterlogged Shoe. You couldn't teleport to your traps anymore, but when they popped, they hindered these survivors, which is just a 5% slowdown. Well, that's fantastic, because that 5% slowdown kind of makes, you know, the Hag in comparison about the same speed, but the problem was that add-on also slowed the Hag down, so it made no goddamn sense. Well, congratulations, Hag mains. You're all getting wonderful add-ons. They're removing these slows from both the Waterlogged Shoes and the Scarred Hand, making them viable strategies, while also giving a speed boost to the Waterlogged Shoes. Oh my god, she'll actually be faster. Now, granted, not as fast as normal killers, but holy shit, we can actually see the Hag move faster with a unique style of play and an altered style of Phantasm traps. My god, this will be fantastic. I might actually pick up playing the nurse a bit more. A lot of people might criticize me for not knowing how to play the nurse, or, you know, not diving into it, but I've seen the Hag mains guide that came out, and unfortunately I have some criticisms for that and all the strategies they have, because there are ways around the Hag that are kind of for survivor knowledge. And overall, no matter who tried to teach me what about the Hag, there was nothing anybody could teach me that would ultimately put the Hag in the, hey, she's really good. And even with these buffs, as they are needed for the Hag, I still don't think she's going to be good enough. And I feel that Hag mains deserve to have a killer. Maybe she doesn't need to have 115% movement speed, but her power absolutely needs to be balanced for a game that will only last about 3 minutes. So what's the whole impact of this change for both Trapper and Hag? Well, the unfortunate thing is this doesn't fix killers, and unfortunately these are also small quality of life changes for both the Trapper and Hag that are very needed. I'm not going to deny that. But impact-wise for killers, this isn't a buff to killers, and this is the problem with the core mechanics of the game. Dead by Daylight needs a slight adjustment to the core mechanics. Time is really against killers. It's balanced for a 2 die, 2 survive, and unfortunately I don't feel that's going to be fair enough. But that's for another video. I have been taking some deep thought into this, and I thought I might discuss it with you all. But here, I just don't think this is going to be a push for killers. This is going to be a great push for both Hag and Trapper. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate all that you've done. What killer would you like to see updated next? How excited are you for Trapper and Hag? And will you be picking them up? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, good game.